Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Minasan, konnichiwa, konbanwa, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah, and I am so happy to have you here today with me. So today, I am going to be doing a second part of my kind of Learn Japanese series that I started the other day. Last time, I taught you katakana, one of the syllabaries that is used in the Japanese writing system. And today, I'm going to teach you the second syllabary of Japanese, which is called hidakana. Now, if you are watching this video to actually try and learn some Japanese, and you haven't seen my first video about katakana yet, then I greatly encourage you to check that video out first, because it will teach you some important aspects of the Japanese sound system, which I will not go over in detail in this video. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Alright, let's start. So today, as I said before, I'm going to be teaching you hiragana. Right here, this is hiragana written in hidakana, as it's typically written. So we have the symbol for hi, da, ga, na, and then here romanized, hidakana, 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 hidakana. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into learning the letters. Alright, so as I did last time, I'm going to teach you the plain vowels first. So you'll see for every hidakana character, there is a corresponding katakana character. So we have a, I, U, E, and O. Again. A, I, U, E, and O. A, I, U, E, O. Say it with me. A, I, U, E, O. A, I, U, E, O. A, I, U, E, O. Alright? A, I, U, E, O. A, I, U, E, O. A, I, U, E, O. Alright. Got it? Alright. Let's move on. Now let's do the K syllables. This will look very familiar if you have watched the katakana video. As you will see, some of the hidakana is very similar to its katakana counterpart. For example, ka and ki look very much like their katakana counterparts. Not all of them will look this way, as you can see. Ku and ke and ko don't really look like their katakana counterparts. So some of them you will really just have to memorize alongside with the katakana. So we have ka, ki, ku, ke, and ko. Alright, can you say ka, ki, ku, ke, ko? Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. now just showing you the hidakana without the romanization. Can you say ka, ki, ku, ke, and ko? Alright. Have you got ka, ki, ku, ke, and ko? Alright, ready to move on? Alright. Next are the S syllables. So we have sa, and as you'll see here, if you remember from katakana, we don't have si, we have shi. Alright, sa, shi, su, se, and so. 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 Sa, shi, su, se, so. Sa, shi, su, se, so. Sa, shi, su, se, and so. Alright. Can you say it with me? Sa, shi, su, se, and so. Alright. Have you got it? Ready to move on? Alright. Now, let's do the T syllables. We have ta here, and if you remember from katakana, we don't have T and tu. We have chi and tsu. Chi and tsu. Chi and tsu. Ta, chi, tsu, te, to. Ta, chi, tsu, te, and to. Ta, chi, tsu, te, and to. Ta, chi, tsu, te, and to. And like in katakana, a small tsu means that you elongate the consonant sound. Okay? Just like in katakana, a small tsu means you elongate the subsequent consonant sound. Excuse me. So one last time. Ta, chi, tsu, te, and to. One last time. Ta, chi, tsu, te, and to. Alright, got it. Let's move on. So next we have the N syllables, and these are pretty straightforward, just as they are in katakana. We have na, ni, nu, ne, and no. Alright, can you say na, ni, nu, ne, and no? Na, ni, nu, ne, and no. Na, ni, nu, ne, and no. Na, ni, nu, ne, no. Alright. One last time. Na, ni, nu, ne, no. Alright. Got it. I know this is a lot of information to throw at you once again. But just like katakana, you really just have to memorize these and use flashcards or something like that to remember them. And soon you'll find that you'll be very fluent. And once you know hidakana, you almost unlock the key to reading all of Japanese. Because even when there's kanji, a lot of time kanji will have what's called furigana, which is small hiragana letters above or below the kanji that tell you how to read it. once you've learned hiragana, you're really on your way to learning Japanese. Alright. Okay, let's move on. So next are the H syllables. And if you remember from katakana, we have ha, hi, and then instead of hu, we have fu. Okay? He, and then ho. And you'll see, he is basically exactly the same as katakana. He is just a little curvier, not as straight lines. Katakana is very straight lined, and hiragana is a lot more curvy. So we have ha, hi, fu, he, and ho. Ha, hi, fu, he, ho. Ha, hi, fu, he, and ho. Alright. Can you say with me? Ha, hi, fu, he, and ho. One last time. Ha, hi, fu, he, and ho. Okay, ready to move on? Alright. The next one is pretty straightforward. We have the M syllables, and we have ma, mi, mu, me, and mo. Just as you would expect. We have ma, mi, mu, me, and mo. Ma, mi, mu, me, and mo. Ma, mi, mu, me, and mo. I actually do always get me mixed up. I always want to say he because it looks like a cursive H to me in English, but it is me. So we have ma, mi, mu, me, mo. One last time. Ma, mi, mu, me, and mo. Alright, ready to move on? Alright. So next up, we have the R syllables. And again, R is quite difficult in Japanese if you're learning it from English. The R is a flap R sound, so it sounds pretty similar to what a D sounds like in American English, if that's your first language. It is a little different. I tend to pronounce it like a D in English, because that's the best approximation of the sound that I can make. So I'm not perfect, but I am good enough to be understood. So for this, we have da, di, do, de, and do. 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 Alright, can you say with me? Da, di, do, de, and do. Da, di, do, de, and do. Da, di, do, de, and do. One last time. Da, di, do, de, and do. Alright, got it. I know that ne does look pretty similar to ne, but ne has a little curly Q and this one does not. This one just goes straight out. Alright, ready to move on? Alright. So, we're almost to the end here. Now we have the Y syllables, and like you remember in katakana, we have no ye or ye. So we just have ya, you, and yo. Okay, can you say ya, you, and yo? Ya, you, and yo. Ya, you, and yo. Alright, say it with me. Ya, you, yo. Ya, you, yo. Ya looks quite similar to the katakana ya, but the other two look quite different, so you'll have to just remember those on their own. Okay, one last time. Ya, you, yo. Alright, let's move on. So, next we have the other kind of miscellaneous sounds. So as I said before, wa is the only W sound that still exists in modern Japanese. So there's no wo or we or we or woo. We just have wa. So that's why it's by itself here. And along with wa, we have n. N is its own syllable in Japanese. So it exists on its own. So we have wa and n. Wa and n. N is, I think, my favorite letter in hidakana. I just love the way it looks. And it does look a little bit like an N in English, so this one's pretty easy to remember. Wa and n. Wa and n. Wa and n. Okay, one last time. Wa and n. Alright. Now, there's just one kind of caveat, and that is particles. So if you're just learning Japanese from this video and you don't know much, there are a class of words in Japanese called particles. They're a little bit like prepositions in English. They function a little bit differently though. That's why they're called particles and not prepositions. Some of them act as prepositions, some of them have their own usage. Now, there is a very commonly used particle in Japanese called wa, and this is written with a hidakana, ha, but it's pronounced wa when it's used as a particle. Now, you don't really need to know what wa means yet. It's a topic marking particle, so it marks the topic of a sentence. I only include it here now just so you're aware of it for later, and it's included in some very commonly used phrases, which I will teach you in a moment. We also have which means to or toward, usually, and that's written with the hidakana he, but it's pronounced when it's used as a particle. And then we have o, which is a object particle in Japanese, and that is its own symbol. So it's just good to know for future use as you advance in your Japanese skills. So we have wa, and o. You don't really need to worry about these two now, but just know that sometimes, or when it's used as a particle, it's always pronounced wa. And I will show you a couple examples in a moment. Alright. So I have some greetings written for you. You will probably recognize some of these. The first one we have is Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo by itself is the informal way of saying good morning. When you add gozaimasu, then that makes it more formal. So, can you say Ohayo, Ohayo, ohayo and ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. And you'll notice two things from this phrase. One, this part is pronounced yo, but it is written with a u, hidakana letter. And when you extend, so in katakana, you'll remember that when you extend a vowel sound, you use a just straight line. In hidakana, when you extend an o, you usually use an u, and when you extend an e, you usually use an e. You don't need to remember that or know that really well right now, but just as an explanation for why Ohayo is written with an u, that's why. You also notice that the u at the end in su is pronounced very lightly. It's almost silent, and that happens a lot in Japanese with u sounds. They're lost. You don't really need to know that really well again, but that's just, I'm explaining why that's happening here. Okay, so this is how you write Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, next we have, you'll probably recognize this one. This is konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. And as you'll notice, the wa sound is written with a ha. It's not really acting as a particle here. This is kind of an exception. But most of the time, when this is pronounced as wa, it's a particle. But you just need to remember that konnichiwa is written like this. So, konnichiwa. 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 Alright. And next we have konbanwa. Konbanwa. Same thing is happening here. We have wa written with a ha. Again, these are kind of the only two weird kind of exceptions that you need to know. That they are written with a ha instead of a wa. Okay, can you say konbanwa? Konbanwa. Konbanwa. Alright. So let's say them one last time together. We have Ohayo gozaimasu, konnichiwa, and konbanwa. Oh, I forgot to mention. Konnichiwa means good day, and konbanwa means good evening. Alright. Alright. So very lastly, I want to say arigatou gozaimasu for you watching this video. If you don't know, arigatou gozaimasu means thank you very much. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, there are all kinds of diacritics in hiragana, but they function exactly like they do in katakana. As you can see here, these diacritic letters. I didn't go over that because I did already go over it in the katakana video, but just remember they function exactly the same as they do in katakana as in hidakana. So, arigatou gozaimasu for watching this video, and oyasumi nasai, which is written below. That means good night. So, thank you for watching this video. Good night. Arigatou gozaimasu. Oyasumi nasai. Bye bye.